Revelation 2 verse 18 says, "And to the angel of the church in Thyatira write, the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished bronze." So here a reference is made to the Son of God, and we know this is whom Jesus said he was. In his testimony, he says he was the Son of the living God. He was sent from the bosom of his Father, and he was returned to the bosom of his Father. So it is speaking about the unique Son of God, the one who has eyes like the flame of fire, and the one whose feet are like burnished bronze. So where else can we find this detail of this Son of God? Well, so happens in the previous chapter, Revelation 1, John in vision again says, "Then I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me, and on turning I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands one like a son of man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash around his chest. The hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze refined in a furnace." So here it's the same reference which we read in Revelation 2:18 as the Son of God. So what John is seeing here, the one who looks like a son of man, in other words, has a human appearance, this is the Son of the living God, the unique Son of the living God, right? His feet were like burnished bronze and his eyes were like flame of fire. But not only that, it tells you also he was clothed in a long robe with a golden sash around his chest. The hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His feet like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace. And his voice was like the roar of many waters. And in his right hand he held 7 stars. From his mouth came a sharp two-edged sword, and his voice was like the sun shining in full strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. But he laid his right hand on me, saying, "Fear not, I am the first and the last, and the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and Hades." And so we have here the Son of God being revealed. Jesus is being shown in his true identity. The hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. Now, all these details that we are reading of here, of the Son of God, the description of Christ and his true identity, I believe that they are more functional than literal. All right, because we already are counseled in Revelation chapter 1, verses 1, 2, and 3, that this vision was signified, as all visions are, by the way, meaning that everything and the details and so on of a vision are symbolic. So the signs and the symbols of the visions really are pointing to spiritual truths. We want to see how we can decipher what are these symbols meaning. Now, you may disagree or agree with what my understanding of these symbols are, and I hope that if you agree, you will be blessed. If you disagree, no problem, right? Now, when I look at this description of the Son of God, first of all, the hairs of his head, his eyes were like flame of fire, his feet like burnished bronze, his voice like the roar of many waters, also his face like the sun shining in full strength. It brings to mind that person in Daniel chapter 10. Daniel chapter 10. So if we jump over to Daniel chapter 10, because remember, Jesus said that the scriptures really were testifying of him. So what is that description in Revelation in chapter 1 of the Son of God, pointing back into the scriptures to show Jesus as being the one of whom the prophets wrote. For example, as I said in Daniel chapter 10 here, and if we just jump to verse 5, it says, I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a man clothed in linen with a belt of fine gold from Uphaz around his waist. His body was like beryl, his face like the appearance of what? Lightning. You see in the similarities of what we saw in Revelation chapter 1. His eyes like what? Flaming torches. His arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze. And the sound of his words like the sound of a multitude. So I would say that this person or this being that Daniel is seeing in his vision is the Son of the living God. It is Jesus in his true identity.